Hey everyone, welcome to the Happy Flosser podcast. My name is Billy Lunt. I am your host, and I'm here to talk to you about all things dental hygiene to support you on your journey through the dental hygiene program. It's so great to be with you today. And this week, what I'd like to talk about is the interview process and getting into dental hygiene school. Oh my goodness, getting in is a real trick for some. And not everyone gets in on the first try. So let me just go through what I know about getting into dental hygiene school, and maybe it can support you if this is something that you're trying to do. Maybe you're listening and you're not quite in yet. Definitely reach out to students that are in the program who went through the process of getting accepted. They will also help you. But I thought this week, as I was working on creating the schedule for the interviews that are coming our way from admissions, that I would give you some ideas of what the process is from my perspective. So if you are looking to get into dental hygiene school, the best thing to do is to get as much information as you can. Meet with the admissions team. Meet with somebody in the advising center who is specifically allocated to work with future dental hygiene students so that you can meet with them and say, okay, this is where I'm at. Maybe you're just coming out of high school. Maybe you've taken some college level classes. You can give all of that information to the advisor or the admissions folks, and they can help you figure out where you're at and what you need to do. So in our program, we use a point sheet, and the point sheet kind of creates three different opportunities for people. We have those that are really strong high school students. And if you are a really strong high school student, what I love about our program is that there's an opportunity for you to come into the program. There's also a pathway if you are a dental assistant, whether you are a CODA graduated dental assistant or an on-the-job trained dental assistant who has taken some of the other courses to expand your skills. You get credit for that. And then the third pathway into the program is maybe you have graduated from high school a while ago and you've taken some college level courses and you have kind of stacked up some of your college level courses. Maybe you were discovering what it was that you wanted to do and you weren't quite sure if dental hygiene was something that you wanted to do. And now you've decided that you want to try it. So those are your three main pathways. And all of the different components that are on the point sheet that the admissions team uses give different amount of points to different grades. So for example, if you took a college level English class and you were in high school and you took advanced placement, an AP class, you would get points for that. If you took a college level class, maybe you took A&P 1 and 2, and you got an A, you would get a certain amount of points for that. If you took that exact same course and you got a B, you would get a certain amount of points for that. If you are a CODA dental assisting graduate, you would get a certain amount of points based on the grades that you received in your courses. So all of those points are added up. And depending on how many we accept into the program, we usually will interview about double that. And I'm only speaking for what we do at our school, so I really don't know what other schools do. But from what I've heard from other educators, some things are similar. Some things are not. What I like is that we're involved in the admissions process by having an interview. And I work really closely with the admissions team as they're going through the process so that we can offer assistance for any questions that they might have. So they provide us with a list on who is a qualified candidate to have an interview. And so we schedule, and that's what I just did this week. We schedule the interviews for students. So this is where the information comes in for you. So for each person, each candidate that is looking to gain acceptance into the dental hygiene program, we provide them with a 15-minute interview. And there are usually 3, 4, 5 faculty who sit in on this interview, And we have a rubric in front of us and we ask you specific questions. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty nerve-wracking if I'm a student trying to get into the dental hygiene program. But I have to tell you, I also remember having an interview, and it was kind of scary. So I think the best thing to do is to prepare yourself with some generalized answers because you just don't know what you're going to get for questions. And I'm not going to tell you the exact questions that we ask our students, but I'm going to give you some guidance and some general sample examples of what might be asked of you when you go into the interview. Think of it as like a job interview. So when you go to a job interview, what do they ask you? Sometimes they might say, tell me about yourself. Okay. So if a dental hygiene interview team asks you to tell them about yourself, what attributes about yourself do you think are good to share? I think you should focus on things that are really connected to the program, like how you are as a student. Maybe you've taken some recent courses in college and you could talk about your experience of being on the campus or creating a study group and that you work really well as part of a team. Something like that. Something that also connects to the profession. So think about 2 or 3 things that you could say about yourself. You know, it's okay if you tell them what your favorite movie is and what kind of music you like, but you should stay focused really on things that are of value and really build on becoming a dental hygiene student. That's usually a really tough question to answer, and we can either get really stuck and be silent or ramble on and just go off on a tangent. So I think if you create like a couple of bullet points about yourself and just practice those, if that question comes up, it will really help you. Now, most students have to do some kind of observation before they go to apply for dental hygiene. In our program, we require that students do 20 hours of observation where they watch a dental hygienist in practice. And although you don't always know all of the ins and outs of everything going on, you can gain some insight as to kind of the lay of the land and how everything went when you were there experiencing that event. The interview team may ask you to tell them about how that experience went, or something that maybe you observed, or something that you found surprising about doing your observation, or something that solidified your decision to become a dental hygienist when you were doing that observation. That observation usually gets referenced in some fashion during your interview. The other thing that you want to do is take an opportunity to share your strengths and some of the things that you find that you're good at. Write down some of your strengths. Maybe you are a great team player. Maybe you're super organized. Maybe you're a leader. You have some leadership skills. Maybe you're courageous. Maybe you have good public speaking skills. Or you are a community member who volunteers in your area. Think about a couple of really strong things, qualities of you that help you stand out, that also are attributes of a dental hygienist. These are the types of things in the interview process that the team are looking for. Now, I will tell you that most students come in and they're super nervous. Nobody gets graded on how nervous they are, at least on my rubric. When I look at somebody who comes in and sits down and they have a 15-minute interview and there's all these strangers sitting there and they're about to ask them questions, it's really intimidating. And as an educator, we know how intimidating it is. And so we tend to disregard the nerves. If you can just get the words out and practice kind of going over in your head some of those key points, I think it will really, you might even go on autopilot when you're sitting in there. But just know that we are not judging you based on how nervous you are and how you present yourself. I will tell you, please dress nicely. Business attire. That is a first impression. You want to have your hair nice and neat. I would even pull it back into a ponytail. Don't have these big long nails and lots of big jewelry. Just be very conservative so that you present yourself as a professional. Know that you are being judged on what you're wearing, not necessarily how nervous you are. The other thing I will tell you is to speak slow and clear, because sometimes we do a lot of ums and we are uncomfortable with silence. And that's okay. We all know this about ourselves. It's like a natural human trait that the autonomic nervous system kicks in, right? That fight or flight. And you just start kind of freaking out because you know why? Because it matters. The whole experience matters. And I have to tell you, lots of students, once they gain acceptance into the program, come up to me or we're be in clinic or something, and they will mention their interview perspective. And most of them say that they blank out. They don't even remember what they said or what was asked of them for questions. And that really is a result of it being such a high stakes situation because it means a lot to you to gain acceptance. But I'm telling you, it also goes a long way to practice, because what I have found is that with practice, really going over things in your head, writing down a script and bullet points, and then rehearsing those things, when you practice something so much that you can just roll off your cuff different things, when that fight or flight or freeze moment happens during an interview, when you have high stress or anxiety coming in, you will do the right things because you've practiced them. You'll just go on autopilot and everything will be okay. So the other thing I will just say is that if you apply to the program and you don't get an interview, that means that you didn't get accepted. I will also say the very same thing, and that is meet with the admissions team, meet with the advising center, and find out what you can do and put yourself a plan together so that you can gain acceptance for the next session. This will go a long way at helping you stay focused on your goal and focused on moving forward. Oftentimes, people don't get in on the first try. It's highly competitive, and there's only so many seats to get into the program. But there was something that happened when you were interviewed that had probably nothing to do with your interview. And maybe you just weren't ready. You just didn't have the strength in your grades or the strength on your point sheet when you stack up against some of the other candidates. And I don't want you to feel bad about that. Those other candidates might not be trying for their very first time. It might be their second or third try to get in. So don't compare yourself to others. And I know I've talked about that before. Comparison is the killer of joy. So if you don't gain acceptance on the first try, meet with the advising team and find out what are your options. What courses can you take to improve your chances of getting in the following year and still work toward your goal? There are some schools that have an entrance test. Find out what the average was on the entrance test and see kind of where you fell. Maybe you need to restudy for that entrance exam and get a better score. Maybe there's a course that you took and you got a C. Maybe that's holding you back. Maybe you think about taking that class again so that you can get an A and have more points so that you can stand out. Whatever you decide to do based on your acceptance or denial letter is up to you, right? So there's lots of forks in our road of life and lots of decisions that we make. But what I want you to do is make your plan of action based on what you know. If you get your letter in the mail that you've been accepted for an interview, prepare and plan the very best you can. If you get a letter in the mail and it says that you haven't been chosen for an interview, prepare and plan the best you can for your next step. Do not let one denial or one bump in your road or two bumps in your road stop you from achieving your goal. We all have different paths, different roads, different stories, different journeys. Do not let things get in your way. The best thing you can do is to grow through the issue, grow through the process, and move forward. You couldn't let one little denial stop you from achieving your goals. But if you can put all of your effort into being as prepared as you possibly can, it really goes a long way at helping you. And if you don't get accepted, you have to take the steps to find out the why behind it. What am I looking like compared to the other candidates? What do I need to work on so that I can achieve this goal and gain acceptance? And then if you do get in, what are you going to do next? Right? That's a story and a conversation for a different episode. Because there's lots of preparing and planning once you do get your acceptance letter. So I hope this episode was helpful for you. If you're listening and you are a student who's already in, you know what you needed to do to prepare and plan. And it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. Hygiene school is really challenging. So getting in is challenging, highly competitive, but some of the very same skills that you need to get through the program are the same skills that you need to gain acceptance into the program. So get yourself organized, prepare and plan for everything. Use all the resources that are out there. There's lots of people out there that are supporting your efforts, myself included. Here we are. So best of luck, guys. As we head into the admissions and acceptance process, most students receive their acceptance letters in the springtime. So I'm hopeful for each and every one of you. For those of you that listen, please tell your friends about the podcast. I'd love to share it with as many people as I can so that I can show my love and support to all the dental people out there. I really appreciate you all. Have a great week. I'll talk to you later.